2, 1. We're back with episode 61, baby. And we're back.
Point 2, or 3 or 4, however many we did.
A little bonus pod, you know, up in the Arnold Expo. But it's nice to be back here where we don't have people talking in Rain's booth, bumping music, and my ADHD was going nuts trying to record there. I'm like, squirrel, like energy drink.
Yeah.
Big, huge dude.
Lots of them.
Yeah, but yeah, so, you know, getting back, it's been awesome. It's hard to think that a week ago, this time we were at Corey's gym.
Yeah.
Getting after it at Old School. But I think the reflection of last week was, I was trying to explain it to somebody the other day. It's hard to put into words 3 days that's the culmination of 9 months of work.
Yeah, I mean, even look back at a year ago where we were and when all this kind of came to light of like, hey, let's do this. And all that, like you said, 9 months of work and savings and planning and all of this.
Writing.
Yeah, and writing to, in the blink of an eye,
Yeah.
we were headed back home going,
What happened?
Did that just happen?
Yeah. Well, I think too, like, you know, for the listeners that have seen the videos we posted and things, I just want to take a moment to talk about, like, you got to kind of roll back to 10 days ago. And what were your expectations for the weekend? What were your thoughts of how it would go?
I thought it would go good, but I don't think any of us thought it would go the way it did.
Right. It went good. It went great.
Yeah.
But not in the ideas that we had 10 days ago.
Yeah. I envisioned selling out of it. Like, we'd just be busy selling. Because that's just what a lot of those booths do,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And then to get there and, I mean, we did well.
Yeah.
But the testimonies of all the dads and everything else that was coming out just, yeah, it completely blew me away.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could say that the expectations were, same thing. I thought we would probably get rid of everything, which, I mean, no big deal that we didn't. But I think, yeah, just to be able to have the conversations with people, that was definitely not expected.
Right. I think for me, yeah, I didn't know if we'd sell. My expectations were, I was more focused on, like, getting the podcast out there and trying to get people on board with the operation and the mission. And so, you know, I was expecting people, you know, however that looked. But yeah, to then be praying with people and doing those things was just wild. You know what I mean? Like, to be having dads come up and share stories, or families come up and share struggles, and to share Christ with people. It was just like, I was talking to Jeremy, like, God knew what we were going there for. And we went with an idea and, like, our expectation, and God was like, no, you're here for a whole different purpose. Like, there's a reason that you're here, and it's bigger than a podcast or a book. So it was super cool.
Well, not even like you said, just the dads, but like the soon-to-be dads with,
Yeah.
you know,
Or the kids.
wife there with, you know, that they were due in 3 months, or kids, basically. I say kids, 19,
Yeah.
wanting to be a dad, but afraid of their, I say, generational curse
Right.
of drugs and alcohol and not wanting to be like dad. And it was crazy.
Yeah, it was super cool, and huge thanks to everybody that stopped by and came back multiple times and you know, talked with us and checked on us, and shout out Northern Kentucky baseball to the young man that came back and asked if he could help us unload. And,
Oh,
Yeah.
it was cool to see people buy into, not us, but buy into this mission of fatherhood and dads and those things. So that was super cool.
Crazy thing with Northern Kentucky, I was listening to the radio coming home last night, and they were just giving like a sports recap of, you know, Lakeland's going to play here, and I didn't hear who they're playing, but Northern Kentucky was played on 98.9, like they're playing somebody local, I don't know if it's Eastern or whatever, in baseball, and I'm like, Hey, I know a guy that's playing Northern Kentucky.
Northern Kentucky playing at Eastern, and he'll freak out when we show up. He'll be like, "What? You're in our hometown right here, boy." But yeah, so man, I wish it would stop trying to use my phone as the microphone on the laptop. But it's all good. We got dealing with the resetting the whole studio for
Yeah.
taking it on the road, so it's good. But yeah, and then that begs the next question. So for you guys, what was the highlight of the weekend? And then we'll get into some dad talk. But for you guys, reflecting on Thursday through Sunday, what was your highlight?
So aside from what we just talked about,
Yeah.
being able to see where all of this started, where the gym started and all this stuff, taking you back to old school and to the coffee shop, and then driving by the place that you stayed, like seeing you in your element, and then kind of taking a glimpse into that brain of yours, that was mine. I really enjoyed that part of it.
I really don't know.
Adam.
Well,
Are
I'm
you
just-
tired? You're like somber, like
Wait, I don't. I need my coffee. You
gotta
guys
wake
got your
up, baby.
300 milligrams of caffeine. I only got 150.
Hey,
Well,
but you're double fisting with their
Because
first
you're
form
also-
over
You're
there.
also because you're 130 pounds, so you just need half of what I need.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just the group as a whole, just everything the way we were able to articulate and move around and speak to so many different people and had a good flow of just. I don't feel like we ever got in each other's way as far as
Yeah.
just logistically.
No, but we got in everybody else's way.
Yeah, we create a bottleneck at every booth we've ever had, and really we don't.
See, I feel like that was just because there was always something going on with the
We
rush.
just don't make good neighbors. We're just bad neighbors.
See, I thought I don't know, they seemed like they, I
They
don't know,
never cared.
they must have
Yeah, they
seen
never
something I
cared.
didn't, because I
No.
thought they were fine.
They never cared.
But like, and it took a second, didn't it?
It did. It just clicked.
I'm like, it's like, I don't think Vince is good. There, yeah. It was the second time he said it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Only reason why I know that because I wore the sweatshirt last night.
Shout out, never cared Daryl.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, they're good. Big Mike, there's
Yep.
two Big Mikes. But no, I really think just the way that we all came together and worked really well with just even Curtis and Kelsey whenever we would record, they were even pulling some people in because they'd have a few cells here and there. So it was just nice that I think it's a testament to just, I think, their belief in us, cheering us on, being, the fact that I think they even seen more of what this is than what they thought themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of cool to.
So talking with Kelsey on the way home, because she's like not been a part of this, and she's seen you do it. So what did she kind of voice to you on that drive home? Did she reflect on anything? Did she talk about it? Like, what's her view of what you're doing now?
Well, I think it really truly showed more of her aspirations to do some of the things that she's always thought about doing outside of her job, just because she's seen what that can look like, and just because the things that she's thought of incorporated this, where she's wanted to possibly have her envision of entrepreneurship, and then like she came up with a lot of really good ideas for just how to push the brand even further, and we talk a lot about the possible second book,
Yeah.
even of what that could all look like with fathers and their kids and things like that, and but she really enjoyed working it, and just seeing all of us gravitate towards just a calling of sorts that, with what Vince and I have in different jobs and not really having this sort of, well, you got a little bit of background with the fast food as far as just public.
Yeah.
Like, I've never really worked with the public a whole lot, but like, just seeing there was a natural, it was natural for all three of us. She was really surprised, especially with Vince and I, of having that. We never seemed uncomfortable
Yeah, and you shout out to you. Like I was giving you a hard time beforehand, but you came out and you balled till you fall.
That was me 20 years ago.
Hey,
I had to.
and that's what Kelsey said
had
to
to
me.
shelter him for a while.
This was Adam when I met him,
Yeah.
and so that was cool to get to see you in that environment.
I realize I don't need the booze to be
Right.
courageous.
Good. You should have
Yeah,
bought coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, abandoned warehouses.
Abandoned buildings, abandoned warehouses. You never know. It's a blank canvas when you meet
Yeah.
somebody.
I think that's what that makes it easy, though.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
way easier to talk to somebody you don't know.
Yeah. Because
And some people don't get that, but I think it's way easier to talk to somebody I don't know.
that's why I'm really curious to see if we do something more local, where there is that flow of people, how I would. Because we got a lot of compliments with the newspaper.
Well, you didn't get bagel. You haven't done Bagel Fest.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm
Yeah.
anxious to see what that would look like for me,
Yeah.
talking
Good.
to people.
But even local, there's still people you don't know. Because like at Bagel Fest, there was plenty of people that we didn't know that were coming up, which is when you get in that rhythm of talking to the people you don't know. When it comes to those that you do know, it's like seamless. Like, oh hey, that guard kind of is already dropped. So when your buddy comes up, you're like, oh cool, hey, you're nobody different than Joe over here that I was talking to. Because we never seemed to be uncomfortable with talking to anybody that was coming by the booth at Bagel Fest, knowing them or not.
Yeah, and I think too, like, so for the listeners, why do we want to share this experience? And for me, it's because, like, it's gotta be at some point educating or motivating to you to know that, like, you can go try something. We didn't quit our jobs. We didn't go broke doing this. We didn't, we self-funded it to the point of we had a vision and we executed. And did the plan and the vision always align with what the plan and vision was in our head? Not all the time. But I think we were able to adjust and go where ultimately, like what we saw this weekend, God's plan for it is usually different than our plan. But like you're talking Kelsey getting fired up about those things. Like that's because it's when you see it done, you say, oh, it's possible. And when you do it and you accomplish it, like I focus on like, okay, I want to celebrate it, but like we've all talked about it, but we've never really been like, we're like, what a great job. Like, it was so awesome. We're all like, what's next? And so there is that balance of like, we did do this thing, and we saw it, and it was a vision in all of our heads, and it came to fruition. And so I think that vision, if you pursue it and you trust the process and you work relentlessly at it, like you can make it happen. And if it completely failed and it didn't go, at least we got to say we did it. Like we tried it. And so I think that's a huge part of any side hustle or undergoing. And I wouldn't say we're a side hustle. I'd say we're like a side mission.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to encourage, lead, and inspire dads in this Operation Dad 75 Hard group that's starting today when this comes out. We're going to there's going to be things that come from that have nothing to do with us, but because other people are going through 75 Hard and seeing the mental benefits of that. So
yeah, whether it be their first time or their fifth time, like you say, you always learn something about yourself. I was talking to Curtis and Chuck, and I don't think I've been more fired up for a round of 75 hard since, except for my first one.
Right, me too.
Like, just because knowing that, like, two of my best friends, two of, men that were in my wedding and trying to help them take that next step. Curtis has already started, and we saw that this weekend.
Yeah.
And then with him sharing his story and all of that stuff, and then Chuck wanting to get there and just knowing that, like, just give this a try. And I promise you that when you get done, you're going to see a different person. And I am so fired up for this one. Like, not only with the accountability with you guys, but having them as accountability partners as well. And just, and even the group, like, just, hey, like I said in the post, what are we learning? What are we celebrate your wins. What are your losses? Like, it's going to happen no matter what. So put it out there and let everybody know, and I guarantee that you're going to feel something and you're going to learn something from it too.
Well, and too, like Chuck, so, like, for me, I don't know we'll see where Adam's at with it. Like, I am so excited to do 75 hard, but at the same time, like, I know what it takes, and I know the challenges, and so I'm like, I really don't want to do this again. Like, part of me is like, we've done it, we're good, like, let's just keep rolling with how we're rolling. But then I know the benefits that come from it, and the other side, and I'm like, I'm excited for those. I'm excited to have a routine and a schedule. But yeah, so with Chuck, like, not going through it, shout out Chuck, like, it may feel like you're pulling the trailer for a minute, and then all of a sudden, he's going to get a motor, and it's going to go, so.
I mean, I'm excited for the Facebook group. I'm anxious to see what kind of feedback we'll be able to get, what questions we'll have, what videos we may get. Like, 'cause I think that's going to be super motivating for me to know that, like, I feel like I'm leading that, you know what I mean? So like it's like my responsibility to make sure that whether it's the content or, you know, the questions that we answer and seeing some of the books that are going to be read, like I'm really kind of looking forward to just seeing everybody partake in the program to see like their thoughts. And again, like you said, when that wall hits or that inner voice starts talking to you, you know, how soon will that voice start talking to you? And that's when like you understand, okay, maybe I do have a weakness here that I need to like talk about and get it off my chest and get some ideas of how I can flick it away and those types of things.
Well, your day one will not compare to your day 75 because your day one is about to be wild.
Oh yeah, me personally.
Monday's day one, and Adam has taken the. It's an abandoned building. Just go in and see what happens to a whole new level here, and I love that because that's been seeing you grow into that. So share a little bit about how this came to fruition. It's crazy about DMs, isn't it? It's crazy how DMs work.
Hey, I have had 42 years. I've never once even dabbled with Instagram. If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't even have Instagram. I don't even want to hear it. So you can leave that one alone. I mean, I've always kind of wasn't for this, you know. In first form, you know, and no one will, and just kind of reaching out, like you feel drawn to somebody, like for whatever reason. I don't know, because if it's just the way our body shapes and some of the workouts, like I just feel like, oh man, I feel like I gravitate towards like his personality and how he kind of does things, and so like, and just watching him go has always kind of inspired me to just reach out to him a few times, and he's always liked some of the things that we do, you know, so it's like, okay, well, let me reach out to this person. And so yeah, like I just, with the boot camp going this next week for me for FCA, going a little bit to be a diversion to get to Fenton, but I'm like, hey, what would it take for us to get to work out at the gym? I explained, hey, that there's going to be day one for 75 hard for us. Kelsey would be like on day 8, I think, for Live Hard. You know, what would it take for us to get a workout there? I'm thinking, oh, there's just no way. You know, like it's just, they're busy. It's a, you know, a big corporation of sorts. And so the fact that he reached out was an honor in itself. Whether he said yes or no, it was just super cool that he even took the time to even reach back out. But it looks like that it's all going to work out. We're going to get our first workout out in Fenton. I can't imagine what the facility is going to look like. You guys have, like, throughout the course of the Arnold, you guys, like, that's just not, I don't really, powerlifting and that thing's never always been my thing. Some of the wrestling guys I knew, but, like, you guys knew so many people, and, like, you guys kind of got a little giddy. It was like, you know, it's just, okay, cool, you know, I'm happy for you guys. So this is my giddy. You know, this is going to be my little kid in the candy store.
No, we get it. I mean, you were talking to the guy that was talking about endurance and running, and you're like, yeah, that's more my speed. Like, and the other two are just like fat, and like that's basically what you told him. So I appreciate it. Like, it's fine, powerlifters, whatever. But yeah, you don't have to throw us under the bus. So you like Will because he's skinny, and so
Will used to be a fat kid.
Yeah, so you're good. It's fine. We're gonna move on. I mean, Vince and I will lick our wounds and understand what you're doing there. I hope he crushes you. I hope he's there, and I hope I hope he's there, and I hope he
his mile
breaks your
time,
will.
crush me.
Yeah, I hope he tries to break your will, and I hope you keep up and show him, hey, I got this.
Break his will.
Yeah, break his will. Break will. That's great. But no, that goes back to, with with getting the podcast out there over the next 4 or 5 episodes, we're gonna go back and talk about our stories and talk about 75 hard and get back to the roots of what Dads Do 75 Hard was, and what led to everything here, and what led to the movement, and dads wanting to be encouraged and inspired. And I think our stories are unique in that someone can relate to each one of us along the way.
Perfect example, this morning.
Right. You walked in, and I'm talking to this guy.
At the perfect time. Like, the guy
For
in here
real.
who is giving up alcohol, lost his fiance, but has a chance to mend everything. And I just happened to walk in, and Colton's like, hey, I was just getting ready to tell your story. And
Vince got to share it.
yeah, so I got to tell him, and he's in here trying to get, because he works, I'm assuming, construction or of some sort,
he's
labor
a
of some sort.
Carpenter that
So
travels.
he's just beat down and sore and all this, and he knows that this is one step to bettering himself so that he can better his family. And it was just like, man, it was about perfect timing. It was awesome. So yeah, one person the Monday after the Arnold just kind of keeps the ball rolling.
Yeah, back home.
Yeah.
That we've never met,
Yeah.
in a small town where I feel like we know everybody. But yeah, and so going back to like what Vince was saying and Adam, like we've talked about it a lot between ourselves, and this will probably be the last time that I talk about it for a while, but going back, and so Vince talked about seeing where I was. That was super, super cool for me because, again, the whole purpose was I just wanted to show you guys. Like, I want to share it. Like, because I can't share it. Like, I can't get people to understand where I was at 22 and what I saw. And then to see this be radically different than what my vision was. And then to get to take you guys back and getting up at 3 and being tired and exhausted in that drive there where nobody's talking and like we're sitting in the car, and then walking in the gym and seeing like the energy that like just clicks, and Adam being like, I could work out here every day. Like if I was close, you know what I mean? And then hearing the speakers talk, and then we go to the Arnold all day, and we go to the meet, the after party thing with Corey and those guys, and getting to change from, I think there's always been a level of like, I am under this, like Corey is this, and I'm like constantly learning. But to get to go in and say, even I don't feel it, I don't think at times, but I try to remind myself, like, you have done these things, like you have achieved something, because it was so different than wanting the job at that internship. And we talked about sleeping on the floor and driving by the place where I slept on the floor in the apartment for 3 months and worked for free and got up at 3 a.m. and went to the gym and went to the office and learned from him for that block of time. And then him saying, yeah, well, everything over the last 8 years just shows you got it. You took that block of time and you took it somewhere, and you continued to live that culture. For me to get to show you guys that, and then go back to 22-year-old that wanted to stay there so bad and wanted to have a job there, and then say, oh, well, it worked out, and I have done these things, and to stand before Corey and give him a book where I write about him in chapter 2, was super cool. And I don't think I really, we've talked about it a lot, but we haven't talked about it on the pod. Like, it's just a wild feeling. And so, yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with this, other than just like, what I want to say is that all started with like a relentless pursuit of something. And it didn't feel like it worked out. It felt like a failure after that. So 16 Twitter messages, driving to the Arnold, sleeping in a car, trying to meet Corey when I'm a senior in college, meet him, messaging him every Monday, getting the internship, skipping college graduation celebration, driving straight to Ohio, not knowing where I'm sleeping, doing that for 3 months, and then saying, I want a job, and then we're not hiring, but I don't think you are meant to stay in a warehouse, and then being like devastated. Like, that felt like a failure.
Yeah.
And then to see 8 years later, we're sitting in the studio we built out in my version of an old school gym with 3 of my dudes talking about fatherhood, because I didn't have kids when all that was happening.
Yeah.
So then to see that whole side, you know, it's just a testament to just relentless pursuit and having a vision, and chasing. Well, it goes back to the Lion Chasers Manifesto. Pursue God-sized goals that are destined to fail without divine intervention. How many times along the way was I destined to fail, but God stepped in and was like, you're not going there, you're going here. And this is the plan. And continue to work at it, continue to pursue, and like, I will, you fill the gaps, because I'm going to go ahead and make the big picture fit.
And I mean, that a lot of that obviously is your faith in not only in God but also in yourself. I mean, there was something that you knew, whether it was subconsciously or not, that this thing was going to be something, and you're going to make sure it turned into something, because you weren't going to allow those months at max effort to just be it. Like, you knew when Corey told you, hey man, like, I got some things here for you, but you're going to have to be, you know, struggling for a while.
Yeah, those student loans are going to have to wait, and they're coming due.
And again, even whether he knows this, and there'd be a conversation to whether we ever talk to him or have him on.
Oh, we're getting him on. Yeah,
here
he'll be
to
on.
ask him, like, did he know even then himself what he saw in you then to know what he sees in you now, if he was able to push you away because he either had a feeling or he already knew, man, this kid's bound for greater things, because if I keep him here, I'm going to just hold him back, and I know he's got so much more. It's just like the potential and performance part. Like, you showed all the potential, and then your work ethic, you know, was the performance. He's like, I ain't keeping him here, because if I keep him here, I'm going to probably waste 3 or 4 years of his life, and he needs to go out there and succeed and excel. Now he's going to hit some bumps across the way, but I know, watching his faith in himself and also in his creator, you know, he's going to do good things.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to a level of, like, struggling with, like, imposter syndrome to a point. Like, I would just keep doing things because, and that's something I got to work out with God, like, and feeling like enough, you know what I mean? Because, like, I constantly want to do more because I don't know what I'm necessarily chasing at times, except it's that fat kid that got made fun of, and, you know, felt like that was my hand dealt in life, was adjust to make fun of yourself first so that other people can't make fun of you, and be fun and funny and energetic. And then there's a level of like, well, I am doing these things, but like, but how? And like, we know it's God, but then at the same time it's like, well, you have achieved things, but it never feels like it's really me doing it. It's like, I don't know who this person is. It's cool for them, but I'm still that fat kid that's getting made fun of, and so I've got to keep trying to like overcome that. And it's like, well, that was, 10 years ago, and so like I'm still trying to overcome that, I guess, definition I've put on myself in a sense. And I don't know if you ever fully lose that. Like, I don't know if you ever fully break away.
I think we all have a part of that in us. I mean, coming from my end, I'm never sober. It's always a constant battle every day to remain sober. No matter how good I feel or how long it's been, it's still, it's been 4.5 years, and you remember those days, and like, so you never get over that, whether you want to call it imposter syndrome or whatever. But we've all talked about it. You use that used what you used to be as fuel to get you to the next level. When you listen to one of my, and I don't watch a whole lot of award shows, but when you watch Jelly Roll talk about how the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield on your car for a reason, you use it as a reference, like, there it is, that's where it was, but your windshield is much bigger because that's where you're looking. Your scope should be much wider going forward than backwards.
Yeah, and those things just don't define who you are. I mean, that's not like Vince said, that's fuel, but don't ruminate on it long enough to where it becomes like the it brings you down. Use it as the positive and not the negative, because you can begin to make that your identity, and then you dwell on it, and then you just feel like I'm not good enough, or well, that's just who I am. And then because if you latched onto that, whenever he decided that he didn't want you there, like you could have went down a really bad path.
Right.
And so like, but I think over the course of time, he is your voice. Corey is that voice that you hear when things probably get a little bit hard, like when you do that bench and all of a sudden, boom, there he is right in front of you. You're like, oh my gosh. Okay, I got to show up for sure because I don't want to hear. Don't you ever have me rap you and you not take the shot.
Yep.
And so like that's probably what you hear all the time is take the shot, take the shot, take the
shot. Take it in the hole and stand up.
And I think that's a positive way for you to utilize that voice, because those voices, I guarantee it, go back and forth with one another, and it's like, which one are you going to listen to? And I think, because like it's not imposter syndrome. Like I know that there's things, and I think as you get older in your maturity, even you're like that, you won't really look at it as much as, I'm not doing enough. You'll get there. I mean, because you're still in your 30s.
You're still young, buck.
Which is good. I mean, I think that's where we all complement each other real well.
Oh, yeah. And I think going back to what you were saying and how to tie it into fathers listening is like there's times in your life where you get told things and you get told no and you feel like you failed, whether it be as a dad, as a provider, as a husband, and you can either take those and you can say, man, I suck. Like, I'm never going to figure this thing out. I wasn't cut out for this. I'm going to cut my losses. Like, we live in an age where divorce is rampant. Some of us have been through it. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I'm going to cut my losses. Like, I suck at this. Like, this isn't working out. And, then there's that other side, that response that says, you know what? Forget that. Like, this didn't work out, but I'm going to work on me, and I'm going to try to chase these things and be the best version of myself for my kids and my wife and my business or my employer, whatever it is, and say, that conversation you had with me, like, whatever you think of me in this moment is not who I am, and I'm going to work at home, I'm going to work the work of the work, I'm going to work the work of the heart, and I'm going to achieve more than you could have ever imagined, because what your view of me right now is, and whatever you're telling me no to or telling me I'm a failure about, that's what I am right now. But I'm going to come back in 3-5 years, and I'm going to come back to this gym. I'm going to come back to this place, and I'm going to have built something that, and so what is that for you? What's the going back and saying, yeah, I'm glad this didn't work out. I'm glad that, because I achieved so much more on the other side of it. And I think we all have to find that as fathers. Like, we're gonna fail. Again, we're gonna have days where we feel like we suck as dads. But like, how do you come back to your kid being 18, 19 years old and calling you and saying, hey, Dad, I need this. Like, I need your advice.
Well, as far as I already say, I think that it doesn't matter who we are. We're gonna let people down.
Right.
We're gonna let people down, and they're gonna let us down, and that's just. But and depending on where you're getting your criticism from, like how big is that circle of that criticism? How much does that really need to be thought of to the point where I'm not good enough? Whether it's your boss or someone you work with, it's like, well, I'm not going to take that I'm taking that with a grain of salt. Like, I got thick skin just because, over the course of years, I've heard it enough times that I used to let it define who I was, and it would get me down, and I would make myself feel a certain way, and I would have to go to the bottle, and I'd have to, but it's like, well, I think over the course of my faith and my walk, like, I know that's not who I am. Like, yeah, I stubbed my toe, I tripped a little bit, my bad, I apologize, like, it wasn't my purpose or my aim to, I did, and that's that way with even our kids and in our marriages. Like, I'm going to disappoint my wife. I'm going to disappoint my kids, but at the end of the day, I know that they still love me, and I know all I gotta do is say, "Do you forgive me?" And I'm going to work on whatever it is I did, and not do it again.
And that's really good how you said that, because like obviously we're going to get back into our stories, but I know your guys' stories and mine. And I think in those moments where you feel like you're disappointing your wife or you're disappointing your kids, or you've let them down, you got two routes. You either grow and try not to let them down the next time, or you're not getting the praise and the attention because you're letting them down. So then you run to what you said, the bottle, or pornography, or
Food.
the chick, the food for me, the chick, or the chick that is telling you how that you are that thing, that you are great, because she doesn't know that you're not.
Yeah.
You know, she's looking at you and she's got an expectation of, oh man, you know, this person's so awesome, and you're like, oh man, she's telling me how great I am, like, and then that just leads to, then you're so much farther down this road of being a leader and being a person that inspires, motivates, encourages, and raises a family to someone that is just living in the moment of what will make me happy right now that I think. And it's not what will make me, it goes back to delayed gratification, aggressive patience. And when we start to self-talk and tell ourselves that, like, man, my wife doesn't love me because I'm going to go run over here because she tells me that I'm the, you know, I'm everything, and I'm, you know, or I'm going to run to the Blizzard, I'm going to run to Dairy Queen because they give me that Blizzard. You know, I just give them $6 and then I'm happy. It's whatever it is for you. And those are things that keep you from who you're supposed to be, and at times can destroy everything that you work to attain.
Yeah, I think it's why it's important to encourage. You know, your loved ones, you know, your circle, however big or small that circle may be, just try to be that vessel for encouragement, you know, and just try to just give those little affirmations here and there, because even you giving someone else joy at times, I feel like, can give others joy.
Okay,
or give yourself joy.
So you say that now. Were you that person 8 years ago?
No. No.
Like, were you giving little affirmations and telling people that they, you know, and pointing out the good in them 8 years ago?
No. I mean, that self encouragement myself, because it was one of those. Well, it was tit for tat for me. Well, you're not giving it to me, I'm not giving it to you. You know, that was just the immaturity in me, not to. Well, they said this about me, but I would take everything they said with you know, I took it for what it was. Like, maybe I am this way, and then, you know, I'd go down a bad path.
Yeah. It's good. I like it. All right, so 75 Hard starts Monday.
Yep.
We got dads jumping in. Like, this is a challenge for you, dads, and we got some dad mom dads jumping in. Like, but really the purpose of this group is to push ourselves to be the best version for our families. And it feels like a lot of tasks, but I promise you, if you have time management and you learn the skills and you adapt the disciplines, you will have more time and more of a positive impact on your family than what you're doing right now. It's just, it just has to happen. It's just natural when you're in this.
It forces it.
Yeah, it forces you to be present. It forces you to be in the moment. And all those things, if you do it the right way and you learn from it. And there'll be hard days, but I think what we're going to see is an extreme growth, not just in ourselves, but in everyone that's taken the challenge on with us. And we're going to see where that goes for them in their lives and celebrate their wins and the things they learn and all that stuff. So that's super cool. And it's going to impact your kids. It's going to impact your spouse in a positive way if you do it the right way and you have great communication and you get them to understand why you're doing it. It pays huge dividends, that compounding interest over 75 days. So Monday is when this comes out. So you're listening to this on a Monday.
On your walk.
On your walk. But if you haven't signed up yet, it's okay. You can jump in the group and end a day after us. Or you can jump in a week later if you're listening to this. There's no, March 10th isn't the deadline. That's just the starting day. So you can jump in any time. And that group is there for that. So if you jump in a month, that's okay. We'll be a little bit ahead of you, but jump in and roll with us. You know, that group will exist for the existence of the podcast, because somebody may try to do it in November, and that group will be there, and they can go back and look and ask questions. So I linked that group on our Instagram, on our Facebook, all that. You can find all that. We'd love for you to take this challenge on with us, because again, the podcast has never been about us or what we're doing. It's about how we can get you guys to be motivated and inspire your family and lead them in a mighty way, in a way that's different than how the world says we as dads should be or fathers should be.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to celebrate wins for people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, whether it's their first time or their fifth time doing it, I can't wait for somebody to be like, I'm down 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks, and I'd be like, scream from the rooftops for them. Like, it's for those that have never done it. Like, when you start to see that change, like, it's amazing, and I can't wait to just share with everybody.
The gerbil's spinning, like up in the head, because 75 hard isn't an easy thing. The amount of people that will complete this are few. If we got 50 people in there, the odds that 5 make it through outside of us is small. But wheels turning. It's important to celebrate wins. So day 75, day 76, we got to make a little get together. We got to make a little celebration for everybody that completed it. We got to hang out, go whether it be we can talk about whether it's a workout or it's a hangout somewhere, but I think that's awesome. And so if you want the invite to the party, to the celebration, you can receive it in 75 days from Monday.
And I would just because too, you'll probably see a lot of people's different workouts. Like, that doesn't have to be you.
Right.
Like,
right.
This thing's always been scalable. Like, because the failures were me trying to do all these like intense, crazy workouts.
Yep.
And it was about day 15 to 17. I'm like, oh my gosh, my body is wrecked. And then also the forward thinking, backwards planning. This is where all that, I got a lot of the stuff that I knew that was not as critical. I had to just get them off my plate, because you can't fit all those in and try to live your same life.
Right. Well, I want to end with this, because I got a meeting this morning at 6. But I want to end with this. So talking about it's all scalable. Okay, Vince, talk about your dad in Operation, well, is he a grandpa?
Yeah.
Operation Grandpa.
Grandkids.
Operation Grandpa. Okay, I want you to talk about him and the ability to scale and the benefits that you reap, even in scalability. And then hopefully he lets us post his transformation, because it's freaking crazy. Share how old he is, what he's done. It's freaking awesome.
So let's see, was it 9 years ago? Head-on collision. Barely made it out alive. Had to be cut out of the car. Had a total hip replacement, fused ankle, knee replacement, and it was all on one side. Because of all of that, the knee actually calcified. So he had to go in and they had to put a new knee in again. I don't know how much he actually gained from that time until a little less than a year ago.
Yeah, it was like last April.
But since then, I got a picture from Mom Monday or Tuesday. Dad is down 85 pounds.
It's incredible.
He looks so.
So this is a guy that, he can walk but it's with a cane.
Yep.
But it is as simple as watch what you eat, go to the gym, and it doesn't you don't have to go in and go, hardcore squatting, doing it is just functionality. Go in. My grandma had the best comment on the picture: motion is lotion. Like, if you the longer you stay moving, the easier it is. Grandma's in her 80s, so you just keep moving, constantly keep moving, and to be down 85 pounds with
how old?
I couldn't even tell you. I don't know. 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking losing 85 pounds in your 60s.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
With basically half of your lower half being artificial.
Yeah, man, what an inspiration. And hopefully he lets us
I'm sure
share that out. But Yeah, and then, man, and it all, I remember when he walked in when your mom recorded with us and seeing him with the cane and walking in and heavier and those things, and it's like, yeah, he's got every excuse in the world to be that. He's got every excuse. You can't fault the guy for where he's at because life dealt him this hand and he's dealing with it. But then to see when you sent that picture, I was like, yo, dude, that's crazy. Like, talk about saying, yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna bluff this bad hand, and I'm gonna make you think I'm holding aces, because that's how he looks now. So that's awesome.
He's checking, and all of a sudden he's got the full house.
Yeah, baby, put him on the cover of GQ. Man, People's Magazine come out with Sexiest Man Alive. It's gonna be
Let's go.
Yeah, shout him out. So that's awesome. So we hope for transformations and not just physically, but transformations mentally, spiritually, in your family, for you, and that's what we're praying for as we go into this challenge, that it impacts you in a mighty way, and it encourages and spurs you on, and we're here to help, and we're doing it right alongside you, so we're excited because 75 Hard starts in 48 hours. Let's go.
Peace.